Hi everyone, the Lone Wolf here, and welcome back to the Sunday recap, my weekly vlog where I talk a bit about my last week in games. And well, it's been a good week for EVE Online last week, both on the main server and on the test server, because I got to play a decent amount on both actually, especially of course with that surprise mass test from CCP. But let's get started on TQ. A pretty decent week, and since the battle against all the orcas in Highsec seems to be over. At least I saw a post on that on the subreddit mentioning that they destroyed over 100 orcas, but that their mission is basically completed. I don't know all the nuance behind that story, but looks like that's done. So I actually went back and did a little bit of mining in the orca as well, starting to gather a decent batch of ore and minerals that I can then decide whether or not I want to move them, sell them, and all of that of course depends a little bit on the price, and I of course make EVE Talk every week to keep an eye on that amongst other things. PI still going pretty slowly and is of course in a rather mixed situation, I would say, because I'm trying lots of different items, and I have to say some of my planets are very slow to produce stuff, so the yields there are extremely low, but we're just gathering everything in Jeddah as well. And well, I'll probably look again at selling a little bit more, because prices are shooting up yet again, and quite a few of them are now at 1-year high points. I personally did not expect PI to make such a comeback, but it really is looking very good at the moment. On top of that, those that are in my opinion still lagging behind the most for PI are, for instance, the specialized PI materials, so like the second tier of materials that would require 4 main inputs, and one of them I used to make on a single planet. So you can make some of them, so get 4 extractors to extract 4 different base materials, refine that, and then go from tier 1 into a single specialized tier 2. If they can make it back to 100,000 disc a piece, for me, that does become the incentive to hunt for those very specific planets. I think Plasma is one of them, and then probably start to move some of my PI away from a single system, but into something that's long-term and added value of that specialized tier. So we'll see, of course, how all of that keeps up, but I'm starting to see some patterns and make some plans for EVE Online. And then, of course, we got all of the test server news. That was pretty good as well. We got that extra mass test. I think around 150 people showed up there. It was very last minute, of course. I only noticed that there was going to be a mass test when I got home from work, and I basically had to get started right away because CCP opened up the loyalty points for the heraldry system, which very specifically for this patch are for the Alliance and Corporation logos. And for this test, a couple of hours before it started, they set the loyalty point cost to 0, which meant that we could just, try out whatever we wanted. I'm sure quite a few guys will have bought everything. I just bought a couple of battle cruisers that I thought would be pretty cool, and then I got ready, basically got a couple of ships ready in the system where we would hold the mass test. Mass test itself, from my point of view, went pretty well. Everything was quite responsive when it comes to the logos. I didn't notice any real problems, no crashes or anything like that. I'm sure CCP actually did do a couple of back-end things that would cause some trouble, because on 2 occasions performance dove down to next to nothing, but I do feel like there was nothing special happening. I think it was basically CCP maybe simulating something, but overall it's working quite well. And I have to say, I mentioned it several times during the recording of the mass test video, but it does look like Amar ships have those very cool layouts, the best layouts for these Alliance logos and Corporation logos. So they look extremely cool. And then the flat Caldari ships, like the Drake for instance, personally I think are the worst off when it comes to just having the Alliance logo right on top of them. And so if you get any side or front view of the ships, you really don't see the logos, which is a little bit unfortunate, but we will see. They also have different types of ships. I'm sure like the Rock smoke and things like that will actually have some pretty cool options as well. But yeah, that's in full development, of course, still subject to change, but I do think that with only around 3 weeks until the expansion should hit, there's not that much more that can change, and we should be in the real testing phase of what CCP wants to deploy. Lots of information as well on balance changes to security status, alpha clones no longer being able to change their security status in HiSec, so they can't be used for ganking anymore. Stuff like that is being found, but not officially announced. I don't think. We will see, of course. Again, a lot of that is subject to change, but I'm pretty sure that what they're finding is close to what CCP is planning to do for the expansion, and honestly, it's looking like a lot. On top of all the faction warfare stuff, you have the heraldry that's coming in. That'll probably give us something to do until hopefully then CCP can come out with the allegiance system so that everyone can join in on the faction stuff. And then, of course, story-wise, a lot is happening as well, and that brings me back to TQ, because something that I've done as well is I moved one of my jump clones into the Turner system in a stealth bomber, and I will try to get there for the event that's basically been announced on a scope video, where there's trouble brewing around the star in the Turner system because of the experiments that the Amar are doing there with that Triglavian tech. So it could be cool. We'll see, of course, what CCP has planned, but the story is in full motion, and I will try to get there. Now, unfortunately, right, it's 1700 Eve time. We just got into daylight savings time here in Belgium, so I don't have a lot of time to get from work into EVE Online and into the event. I may be late actually because I have to go to the office that day, unfortunately, but I will do my absolute best to stop on time and get there, because it does look like this will be one of those linchpin moments of something really cool, perhaps very bad happening. I don't think the Triglavians will like what will happen there either, so it's very cool, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what happens, and hopefully I can basically be a part of that event. So that should be on November 2nd, 1700 Eve time, so I guess I'll see you guys over there. And basically that was my last week in games. Only played a lot of EVE Online. I do want to quickly mention though that next week on Friday for Path of Exile there is going to be a start for like a special mayhem event, and all you have to do is get to level 50 in order to earn like a reward for that one. So that's something that I'm planning to do as well for Path of Exile, trying out some of those events. I actually never, I don't think, maybe a couple of exceptions, but never really planned to then take part of these late league events, and so now that they're here, I'm definitely going to take a look at those as well. But yeah, that's it for this Sunday recap, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.